Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Fireside Giants. I'm your host for today, Anthony, and today we're going to be breaking down the top three positional battles on the Giants roster heading into the 2020 NFL season. Those positional battles are going to be at center, right tackle, and slot cornerback. So I'm going to break it down, give my thoughts and opinions, and then you can give yours in the comment section down below. So let's get right into it. So one of the most exciting positional battles that the Giants have on their roster this season is at slot cornerback. They have a few guys from last season who are going to compete to retain the position, but they also have a newbie in Darnay Holmes who has a pretty solid chance of taking that position as a day one starter as a rookie. They drafted Holmes in, I believe, the fifth round of this year's draft. He's a rookie cornerback out of UCLA, fourth round. And he's out of UCLA. He played outside cornerback in college, but his small frame is the reason that he's projected to be a nickel cornerback in the NFL. He's only 5'10", 195 pounds, and if you've ever watched him play or seen any pictures of him, you could tell he's just really small. I wouldn't be surprised if those numbers are a little inflated if he weighed less than that and was actually shorter than that, because he just looks small on the football field. But he doesn't play small. He plays big. He's physical at the line of scrimmage, loves to play man coverage, and he's very aggressive, and he's really got some great coverage skills. And he probably could play on the outside. I recently wrote an article about that where I argued give him a shot at the outside, but he's going to be competing for that nickel cornerback position. And when you look at his stats here, as a sophomore in 2018, he played in all 12 games, had 36 solo tackles, 48 combined tackles, and three interceptions, 8 passes defended, 2 forced fumbles, 1 fumble recovery. He played great that year. But in 2019, it was a little drop-off in play. He only recorded 33 total tackles and 2 interceptions and no forced fumbles and only 6 passes defended. So the drop-off in play was mainly because he was injured. He was playing through a really significant ankle injury, I believe, and he was going through a lot of personal issues as well. But he played through it and showed a lot of heart and actually performed pretty well, got the invite to the Combine, and of course became an NFL draft pick. Another exciting thing about Darnay Holmes is his connection with so many NFL legends like Aeneas Williams, a Hall of Famer, Deion Sanders, obviously you know he's a Hall of Famer, and Rod Woodson, another Hall of Famer. This is his stable of legendary mentors. Aeneas Williams said, "I was thinking in the back of my mind a team is going to get a steal." That's a quote by Aeneas when discussing Darnay Holmes, and the Giants were the team that got that steal. Deion Sanders on Darnay Holmes' impressive work in the speed turn drill at the 2020 NFL Scouting Combine said, "He looked flawless. He was unbelievable." That's the quote. And Rod Woodson said, "I know he was taken in the 4th round, but I like his mindset. No coach can measure one's heart and one's mind until you start playing. I think when I've seen him playing and talk to Carnell and his son, just the way he moves and how fluid he is and has that recall during the games when people are doing stuff to him, that makes you kind of excited to watch a player like that." So that's obviously high praise from his 3 mentors right there, all Hall of Fame former players. Really excellent. And Darnay Holmes is a guy that really has a chance to be a day one starter as a rookie, but there's also some competition here. You've got the likes of Grant Haley and Corey Valentine who definitely could compete for this role. So Grant Haley is a player that you guys should definitely be familiar with by now. He did start in 9 games in 2018 for the Giants and 3 games in 2019 for the Giants. He played in 15 games for the Giants this season, though. He racked up 43 combined tackles, had a sack even, 4 tackles for loss as well, but 0 interceptions, 0 passes defended, and that was on 38% of the team's defensive snaps. He only missed 3 tackles all year, so that's pretty good too. Only 6.5% tackle percentage, or missed tackle percentage. But the real problem with Grant Haley is his coverage. It's really poor. He was targeted 39 times in coverage this year. He allowed 32 completions, which is an 82.1% completion percentage rate. Opposing offenses gained 342 yards against Grant Haley and 1 touchdown, which makes a quarterback rating of 111.8. 8.8 yards per target. That's ugly. In 2018, he wasn't that much better, though he was a little bit better, but he let up 4 touchdowns on 63.9% completion rate. So it's obvious that he's just not a coverage corner. He really can't do that. But he is really phenomenal as a run defender. There's clips that should be playing in this video right now of him getting in the backfield and making these tackles, running through blockers, whatever. He's a great tackler. But in coverage, he's a major liability for the Giants. Because of this, I don't think that he has much of a chance of becoming the starting nickel cornerback for the Giants. I think that he's going to be another rotational guy. And I really like that role for Grant Haley because you think on third and short, fourth and short, fourth and goal, even those short yardage situations when you know that the opposing team is going to run the ball or at least check it down short. Grant Haley comes in handy there. He's going to make that tackle if he needs to. If he sees Ezekiel Elliott, it's 4th and 2. He's going to make that tackle. He's not going to miss many tackles, at least. He's somebody that you can depend on. If they bounce it outside on 4th and 3, Grant Haley's going to get out there and he's going to get in the way, and he's probably going to make that tackle. And I think that provides a lot of value. So, no, I don't think he's going to be the starting cornerback because he is as bad as he is in coverage. But he's going to be able to rotate in there and make a lot of key plays as a run defender, and I think that's really important. The next player to look at for the Giants slot cornerback position is Corey Valentine. He was a 6th-round draft pick for the Giants this past season, and he played in 13 games. He started in 2 of those games, and those 2 starts came at slot cornerback. So he did have some experience playing slot cornerback in the NFL already, so that could bode well for him in this competition. But he really didn't perform that well. He was targeted 42 times and let up 27 completions, which is a 64.3% completion percentage. But he also allowed 393 yards and 4 touchdowns for a 126.4 quarterback rating, which is pretty bad. Quarterbacks were scoring against him. I remember specifically the Bears game. Allen Robinson was having a field day versus Corey Valentine. Valentine could not hold his water. So, you look at that and you compare that to Darnay Holmes, a guy who we think is going to be really good in coverage. I'm not so sure that Corey Valentine can win that position. He was impressive last preseason, but come by the time he was playing in the regular season, it just wasn't that great. 26 combined tackles, only 1 missed tackle though. So another sure tackling cornerback, which the Giants seem to have a few of, and that's a good thing. You need those guys to rotate in, but Corey Valentine, I think his position on this team is better as a kick returner. He returned 10 kicks last year for 256 yards, one of which went for 52 yards. That's an average of 25.6 yards per return. That's pretty good. I think that's something that we can be impressed by. And I think that's where he really should be making his money in the NFL. He's a good special teams player. And we know Joe Judge loves special teams. So Valentine played 27% of the defensive snaps this past season. And I could see him playing around the same role this year, around 27% of the team snaps, because they're definitely going to rotate him in at cornerback, and he's a really solid depth piece. He's a young guy with a lot of potential. Obviously went through a really shaky start to his career last year. Off the field, and then on the field it wasn't so great either, but he can overcome that. He can develop. We've seen definitely flashes of great play by him, especially that interception that he had against the Jets in the preseason, but we have to see more from him, and I think you're just going to have to wait, give him more time to develop as a rotational piece on the defense this year, and then maybe down the road he could look to find his way into the starting lineup. The next position battle for the Giants is going to be at center, where last year they had John Halapio start pretty much every game there and perform very poorly. Prayers up to John Halapio. He did suffer season-ending injury, and I hope he recovers well from that. But before he was injured, he really wasn't playing well and was a bit of a liability on the offensive line for the Giants. And so it's up for grabs now. Whoever is going to get that position is going to have to fight for it. And it's between 3 players right now. It's between Nick Gates, Spencer Pulley, and Shane Lemieux, the rookie. Nick Gates has actually never played center before. He's played right guard and right tackle. He started at both positions for the Giants this past season, filling in for some injured players. But he's never played at center. This offseason, he's actually started training to play that position because he wants to be ready just in case the Giants do want to put him there, and I suspect that they will. They're going to have him compete for that position. Spencer Pulley, however, is a center. He has started some games there for the Giants, but has mainly played as a backup, and I believe that's where he should remain. But he did start 9 games there for the Giants in 2018 after John Halapia went down with injury, and then again in 2019 he played in 4 games for the Giants because, once again, John Halapia went down with injury. In the 95 offensive snaps that he played in 2019, he had 1 penalty, and overall, Pro Football Focus gave Spencer Pulley a 48.7 overall grade, 56.4 pass blocking, 49.9 run blocking. So yeah, to me, Spencer Pulley is a really strong candidate for the backup center position, and the guy that I think should get it, unless he gets the offensive tackle position, is Nick Gates. I think that as long as he can make that transition, and I know it is difficult to make, but I believe he can make it since he does play multiple positions already. If Nick Gates can make that transition, it would be perfect for the Giants. He's 24 years old, and he did play in 3 games for the Giants in 2019. And in those games, he looked really good. He played right guard and right tackle for the Giants. And if you go by PFF, he had a 77 overall grade, 75.9 run blocking, and 71.5 pass blocking, which is really good for their grading system. He allowed only 1 sack on 290 offensive snaps that he played in 2019. I like Nick Gates a lot. I think he's really athletic. He's young and he's strong. He's versatile too. That's the best part, is that he's played right tackle, right guard, and is now making that transition to center. So I think that if he can make it successfully, it's going to help the Giants out a lot, because I think that he's a really, really good, talented player. But who is also talented is Shane Lemieux, the Giants' 5th-round draft pick out of Oregon. Shane Lemieux is an offensive guard, but he's also going to try and make that transition to center because he understands how important it is to be versatile. Shane Lemieux is a mauler. He's a big, physical run blocker. He's very good in the run game, and another player that graded really highly on Pro Football Focus. According to Pro Football Focus, Shane Lemieux got an 83.9 overall grade. He allowed only 11 pressures, had an 84.8 run blocking grade with a 79 pass blocking grade. That was a 2.4% pressure rate on all of his snaps. He's 6'4", 317 pounds. He was a senior who started quite a few games over at Oregon, and he's a really great mauling offensive guard. If he doesn't get the chance at center, if he doesn't make that transition successfully, I definitely think that he has a future sitting behind Kevin Zeitler at the guard position, and then one day, once Zeitler moves on from the Giants, whether that be through retirement or the Giants cutting him to save $12 million in cap next year, you can definitely think that Shane Lemieux might take over at that position after Kevin Zeitler. He could develop and be that long-term answer at offensive guard, but short-term, immediately, he's going to compete for that center position, and there's a chance that he could win that one as well. But if it were up to me, I would put Nick Gates there and let Shane Lemieux wait for a little while and see if he can do something at the right guard position once Zeitler leaves. So the last position battle that we're going to look into for the Giants is at right tackle. So basically you have Andrew Thomas and Nate Solder are going to compete at left tackle, and probably the loser of that is going to take the right tackle position, but then they're also going to have to compete with a couple other guys like Matt Peart, Nick Gates, and Cam Fleming. Cam Fleming was signed this offseason to play right tackle, but then the Giants went and they drafted Andrew Thomas 4th overall, so it's not likely that he's going to actually start at that position. However, Cam Fleming is an awesome swing tackle. He can be like your 6th offensive tackle on the line in those jumbo packages. So that he does provide some value there if they decide after training camp that they want to keep him on the roster. Nick Gates, we just discussed him for the center position. He could end up playing right tackle. He did play that in 2019 for a limited time, as we just discussed, and he played really well there. He was a really solid player at right tackle when he started those couple games. I know the game against the Jets, he was particularly impressive. And then, of course, you have Matt Peart, who is the rookie out of UConn. He was the 3rd-round draft choice, number 99 overall. I'm a huge fan of Matt Peart. If you guys have been following the channel for a little while, you'll know that I did a film analysis on him, as well as our Our other member of the team, Matt G, he did a great film analysis on Matt Parrott. So we're big Matt Parrott fans here at Fireside Giants, but we just are kind of all in agreement he's not ready yet to start as an offensive tackle as a rookie. I think with Matt Parrott, he's going to be a starting offensive tackle for the Giants one day, but just not yet. Somewhere down the road, he's going to probably win that right tackle position. Andrew Thomas is going to keep that left tackle position for a long time. And we're going to give props to Dave Gettleman because he found 2 starting offensive tackles in one draft. So if that does happen, it's going to be amazing, and we're going to have to worship the ground that Dave Gettleman walks on. But for now, let's just look at the short term. It's probably going to be Nate Solder at right tackle, I would think, because I don't think that it's wise to have Andrew Thomas start his career off at right tackle if you're going to move him over to left tackle next season. He was drafted to be the left tackle and protect Daniel Jones' blind side for the next decade. So why should we wait a precious year of his development at right tackle? Why should we waste a year there? I think that they should keep him at left tackle. Nate Solder did say that he is willing to move over to the right side of the offensive line if that's what the Giants ask of him, and I predict that that's what they will ask of him. But behind him, say for some reason they decide to trade or cut Nate Solder before the season begins, it's going to be between Cam Fleming, Matt Parrott, and Nick Gates. And let's assume that Nick Gates gets that center position because, as I said, that's what I expect from him. I think you're going to give it to Cameron Fleming there because, like I said, Matt Parrott is likely not ready to start yet. He played at UConn. Going from UConn to the NFL is a huge jump. I think you would be better off just having Cam Fleming start there at right tackle. He's a veteran. He played for the Patriots. He played for the Cowboys. He's very familiar with this offensive scheme because he played for the Cowboys. So I think that he would be the better option to start there for now until eventually Matt Parrott is ready to go. If Matt Parrott is ready to go by week 8, put him in by all means. If he's not ready until week 2 of next season, wait till then. I think that it's Nate Solder or Andrew Thomas's job for sure, but behind them, it's definitely a little bit of a position battle between Matt Parrott, Nick Gates, and Cameron Fleming. So yeah, guys, that's all I have for you today. Those are the 3 position battles that I'm going to be keeping a real close eye on heading into training camp, which will be starting by the end of next month if all goes well here with the coronavirus pandemic. So these are the 3 position battles I'm keeping an eye on. I think you should too. Please make sure to give this video a like if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to Fireside Giants for more content just like this. And this is one of my first of many videos I'm going to be making here on this site. On this channel. I'm seeing a more expanded role here. So if you got any feedback you want to leave me, I would love that. I appreciate it. And I hope you come back for more. We got a great team here. We're building something special. So please stay tuned. Like I said, like and subscribe if you enjoyed. Comment down below who you think is going to win each position battle. I'd love to hear you guys' opinions and chat with you down in the comment section. You can also follow me and debate with me on Twitter at Anthony_Rivardo. So make sure to give me a follow and do that. And I'll see you in the next video.